So I guess we're gonna start the video on this crap. How many times have I done this over the years, people? Okay, we got one dump truck grinding fucking cement there. Another one grinding its cement. They've been doing this since 6 o'clock this morning. Another one grinding its fucking cement there. You can see it turning. There's another one grinding its fucking cement there. Where's my finger? Oh my god, I can't see. You can, there it is. Okay? Grinding his fucking cement there. What do we got down here? I don't know. The city came along, and I guess that's maybe why they cut the Norway maple. We thought maybe it had something to do with the telephone line and the power line or whatever fucking lines. But clearly, they wanted it nice for the trucks to come in. You know, right? Another one there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of these things. And then we wonder why my house is so fucking gritty. Okay? Right? And if it's not that, it will be big ass whatever. Oh my god, it makes me so freaking mad. And then we've got these guys over here. That's that duplex that was torn down with all those people pushed out of that house, coming in through the back fucking alley with their beep, 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 and all this shit, right? Doing whatever they're doing over there. Now, a few years back, what, 4 or 5, 6 years ago, they built that ugly building, right? Okay? And now they're building one right next to it. That's what's happening here. That's why these guys are here, right? Well, my landlady's just sitting on a gold mine for $3 million for this little piece of property, right? Which is nothing but a fucking nightmare for me these days, okay? That one's gonna make his $3 million. That owner is gonna make their $3 million. And then there's gonna come a day when that house, this house, and that house with about 7 different, 8 different suites with multiple people in each suite, right, are going to be kicked out of their fucking houses. Okay, before I start my day here, I have to finish up with that bone broth and the pork. I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday, right? Yesterday I washed the jars from the beef that I canned for Amari, and then a pot of potatoes, got them in the dehydrator, and basically, people, I've been battling that loose harvesting with what's been going on, you know, with my landlady, right? With the, she wants $3,000. You don't like it, you can move. I'm not fixing anything. Just whatever, and I'm, you know, I'm a little scared because you just don't know when it's coming and what's coming with those people. You just don't, right? Like, I'm tired of being intimidated as I'm being used and abused, basically, with nowhere to go after they kick me out. Yeah, it's a game for them. It's draining. I don't like being angry. I don't like feeling insecure. I don't like feeling fearful and afraid and nervous, and it starts to make me feel ill. So in the meantime, okay, now maybe what I'll do is I'll keep this video as is with what I was talking about prior to this, what I'm talking about now. To whom it is this fella, this man here, Joel Obertan. I got up this morning. Omari was such a little pest, man. I don't know. He getting so rambunctious, people, you don't even know. He bouncing around, sitting up, grabbing things. He's going further on my sewing table, up where my head is, where I had a glass of water. And I guess we were all sleeping. Andre was sleeping. I'm sleeping. Amari should be sleeping, but he's not. He's sneaking around, playing in the dark. Right? Pulling things, because his reach is getting, you know, he stands on his knees, right? And he cocks himself up. So it's like he's standing up so he can reach with his left hand, because he can't use his right? And grab whatever he can grab off of my sewing table. So he's grabbing off his ankle bracelet, and there's nothing much left to grab because we've taken everything away. But anyway, I guess he's seen the cup and whatever else. So I'm sleeping, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning or something dumb like that. And splash! And it was a big cup full of water. He got me soaking frickin' wet. Oh my Lord. Oh, needless to say, I got a little angry with him. Told him to lay down and just be quiet, go to sleep. He did. But then he woke back up around, I don't know, 6. Because I went back to sleep wet and all. Because I'm exhausted with what my landlady's doing. Not to mention just everything that I do in a day, people. You know, it's a double whammy for me. Okay? It's a freaking double whammy for me. She knows it, but she doesn't care. No. So anyway, like I said, she wants me to go blinder faster. I suppose she figures if I go blinder faster... Oops. I guess she figures if I go blinder faster, she'll get her way faster. She can kick out my family. Put me up in some old folks' home or something. Right? Lock me away like a dirty secret. Put Amari into foster care. Right? Just saying. Because she sure in the hell isn't making it comfortable. You know, nobody's happy, that's for sure. We haven't been happy forever. For as long as I can remember, it's been nothing but stress from this stuff that goes on around here with porch and plumbing and whatever. Okay, so I don't want to talk about that. So, now, for the ones that watch my channel regularly, they would know this fella because about him. They don't know him. Nobody really knows him. But they would know of him because I mentioned him before. Because he's in my playlist, I'm pretty sure. When I was trying to do something with Lady Jane, aka Jane Moto, to whom has gone off on left field, and seriously, I can't get with it, people, because first of all, in my opinion, I think she puts out a lot of misinformation and misleads, I guess, men down a garden path with a whole bunch of okie dokie for clicks. Okay, here we go. Where am I? Changing lives, happiness on a whole new level. Alright. I haven't been involved with Lady Jane for a while now. Right? Now don't forget, I have neighbors that are African. They're running a booze can. But it's kind of like their culture anyway, to hang out and socialize and gather and be loud and noisy, play music, right? So anyway, a lot of them, they come from Kampala, from Uganda itself, and are from Kampala. This Joel Obertan is in Kampala, right? Now, Harriet the Traveler, where's my finger? Oh my Lord. There. Harriet the Traveler, I'm thinking is his friend. And she's up and about that way too. This was just this here is somebody else. I don't know who. There he is. See? There's his video. Right? He in Kampala, there was an area where there was housing that was situated for 10 years or something. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back. Now, I'm going to give this guy a fair shake, all right? I will put his name in my title since he publicly subscribed to my channel this morning in the wee hours of the morning. As my little grandson, who happens to have severe cerebral palsy, was pestering me like no dickens because he wanted to cuddle and play, and that was after he spilled water on me. He pretended he was sleeping for a little while, but it wasn't long before he was right back at bugging me. Okay, so in the meantime, and the reason I say that is because Joel, when he goes out and about and does what he does through, charity, right? Kind of like what Lady Jane was doing, only he does it in the more surrounding Kampala area where the government came in and bulldozed down a community that had been established for well over 10 years for basically the working poor. The working poor. They were working, but, they were trapped in their environment through their politics. So in other words, many of them were living in those, I don't want to call them shanties, but they kind of are like a shanty in compared to other housing units, where it was just kind of like a brick building, like a garage, one big room kind of thing. Maybe there was a couple of other buildings in there that were slightly different, but it was kind of like a row housing that was affordable for low income, workers, with many of them self-employed, with families. Okay. And that community was established for well over 10 years. So government came along, uprooted the people, tore down their buildings, expected them to disperse. I suppose some did disappear into the abyss, where others were left behind in the rubble, trying to patch up what little they could patch up to provide some sort of shelter for themselves and their families. They would gather at night, the community, under a small fire to stay warm, because clearly their buildings were incapable of providing shelter to that extent, and they needed the fire, so they would gather at night and keep each other warm that way. And so anyway, he through his channel, he got a few donations, went back to the people, and was dispersing those donations, 100,000 shillings here, 100,000 shillings there, right? I don't know what the equivalent that would be for Canadian dollars or American dollars. The point is he went back a few times and he did that. And there was one particular woman who had a child with cerebral palsy, worse than Amari, but almost in a similar situation, right? But with no government assistance with the diapers and those supplemental drinks. Okay, I'm just saying, never mind a welfare check. Okay, so she's struggling, right? And he gave her money a couple of times to help her, and I think she has something like 6 kids. Husband left, obviously, right? At some point, I don't know when, but she was basically by herself. Her home was basically destroyed. And so the reason I bring up the cerebral palsy is because in Africa, with, inferior health care to one degree or another, especially for those further out in the villages and that type of thing where they can't get to the hospital, which is up to date, right? with their procedures and everything for the most part, depending on what, I suppose, geographical location you're situated in as a hospital. They have a higher percentage of children being born with cerebral palsy due to birth injuries. No mention of, oh, she must have been a closet drug addict and she did it to herself as well as her child. Like, you know, how they're trying to justify Amari's situation, suggesting that Shimei did drugs and therefore that's why Amari is the way he is, which is not true. Okay? He is the way he is because something went wrong, and it more than likely was at the time of his birth for that 5-day duration where they kept sending her away from the hospital. Alright, okay. Well, in Africa, the percentage of children with cerebral palsy is much higher because, you know, it doesn't take much to cause brain injury through the birth process. Alright. And there is no mention of, oh, the mother did it because she was doing drugs, right? No, it's not. No, it's the fact that not getting proper medical attention in an emergency situation. So anyway, point is he's well aware of cerebral palsy, and when you're on the high end of the spectrum in terms of the worst, what it really means, because he's gone into the community and he's helped that woman on a few occasions. Not to mention a whole lot of other people with their stories because of what the government is doing down there. Now, the reason they tore down so-called the complex, the housing complex, the houses, housing units, whatever you want to call them, is because they're trying to say that they were situated on a watershed, and they want to allow the land to repair itself, and they don't want anybody living on it. Where I tend to be more suspicious in terms of the true agenda of the government in regards to, well, what's under the land that maybe they want to mine, or maybe they want that water to accumulate or whatever, so that they have easy access to redirect it someplace else to do something else with it. But before they could do that, they had to remove the people. All right. Only time will tell there. Now, I'm asking myself, now, why would this man, out of the blue, all of a sudden just join my channel? As if. There's something I'm either saying in my more previous videos that he can relate with when it comes to housing corruption, because you know what's going on in Uganda with rich people coming in from the United States of America and wherever else, scooping up on properties cheap, right? Building buildings and then selling and making profit and whatever. We know that a lot of these buildings that are being built with gated communities to keep the indigenous people out and at bay, as the indigenous people below a certain income level continue to fall through the cracks and become more desperate as they're being displaced. Okay? Kind of same situation that's going on out here in Canada. All right. So maybe he just likes my quote-unquote truth bombs when I talk about that kind of stuff. And maybe not so much in the way I talk about it, because, you know, I cuss and all that other stuff sometimes, right? And I get emotional with it. But maybe he just likes the overall message, and there's just a part of him that can kind of really relate with it, because he is some sort of property. I wouldn't call him a developer. I don't think he's a developer per se, as he is a realtor to one degree or another. Because I came across his videos with him promoting these buildings for sale with the gated community, among other people like him at different periods of time. Now, whether they're working for the same realtor company or whether they're just, you know, what do you call those, entrepreneurs working for themselves. I don't know. But what I'm saying is he has an understanding of the economy when it's being fueled by a housing market with foreign investment. Because I think a lot of the investment is coming from overseas. Now, whether that's from Muslim countries, because the Muslims are moving in. He's already shown that through his videos, right? And they're like birds of a feather, flock together like anywhere else. Come to British Columbia, Canada, you're going to find the Punjabis in Surrey. You're going to find the Chinese in Richmond. You're going to find the Muslims, well, they'll be speckled here and about. But, they have their Moziks, and maybe they're more up in Burnaby. But, they stick to themselves, and, they are no different than any other ethnic group out here when it comes to do for self kind of thing, right? They'll help themselves as an ethnic group first before they'll actually help the community as a whole when it relates to everybody, including those below a certain income level. Instead, those below a certain income level, whether they're working poor or the homeless, or what people on, some sort of government assistance, whatever, it all goes under a caste system, which puts you in a whole new ball game that brings in that human trafficking under that slave trade. Okay, now maybe Joel Obertan can relate to that, and maybe that's why he joined my channel, because not too many people talk about that with the amount of passion that I talk about it when I come into contact with it on a regular basis in my own country. It's just I'm able to articulate, I'm able to explain, talk, rationalize, what's going on, versus internalize it and become a victim to it, even though ultimately I do become a victim to it because I don't have the financial resources and the legal beagles to fight back. Okay? I'm just saying. Now, so that's the little bit of the history of how I came across this man's page. Okay? Was just popped up on my YouTube, main, here's a selection of videos. I clicked it on, and, he's promoting property development with high gates that nobody can jump over, with vines growing up so that nobody can look inside and get jealous, while the ones sitting in the inside are eating crumpets and plotting and scheming how they're going to gain more wealth. All right? How deep into that game he's into, I don't know. Like I said, he could just simply be a realtor and looking for a commission if somebody bought it from watching his video. Outside of that, he does go out into the community and does charity. Now, we'll go on to the next page of this little introduction. So, all right, I'm working with Jane Moto, Lady Jane, with Little Peter and Mama Peter, right? I wanted to try and rustle up some YouTube support, right? So that money could be generated, so that more money could go to Lady Jane to help Mama Peter and Little Peter and the rest of the kids. And then maybe if we were lucky to expand out into the surrounding community, right? I mean, ultimately, that would have been the main end goal, right? Was to support the larger community, not just the one household. But before that could happen, we had to support the one household. And just with my YouTube shadow banning and maybe my topics, maybe my passion, maybe who knows, I ain't getting very far with things, right? But I came in, right? I gave it my best shot. MamaLynn playing hardball, right? And then, I don't know, Lady Jane just, at first it seemed okay, but then it started getting expensive, right? And she wasn't really responding in a way that I wanted her to respond in terms of her video follow-up. right? In terms of being more, it's not in depth, but more with more detail, you know, give us more. We really wanted to see more. We just didn't want to see a little bit, right? And then, you know, in came the, oh, you know, Mama Peter's in the hospital, and, you know, I had to spend the money there, and little Peter's in the hospital, and I had to spend the money there, and don't get me wrong, I can see that kind of stuff happening, right? And then, you know, we went to go do the floor, and next thing you know it, I'm paying somebody's mortgage. And I'm like, oh, well, I can't keep doing this. So at one point, I did approach this man to see if he'd partner up with us to try and get that YouTube support, being that he's up in the Kampala area. He's not far from wherever Lady Jane was with Mama Peter and whatnot, right? And I wanted him to go there to Mama Peter's house and meet Lady Jane. This is what I wanted. To meet Lady Jane, to rustle up more support from his subscribers to finish the job, people, because I couldn't afford it on my own. And it was taking too much time. Well, we had Deb coming in on the ranks, right? My subscriber Deb, who told me she's unsubscribing because she didn't like the way I was talking to her when I was defending Lady Jane, saying, no, give Lady Jane a chance. I don't think she's running a scam, and I still don't think she was running a scam, quote unquote, although it got a little scammy. And then when she changed her channel tune, you know, her topics, well, that just kind of, I don't know, that, and then, you know, I'm paying for somebody else's mortgage. Well, whatever. It's like, you know, I don't know how much I spent, $1,500 or something like that I gave her. And it was just, I needed a break, right? Okay. So in the meantime, before all that happened, though, I'm asking this man to contact her, right, to make arrangements where maybe he could meet her, Lady Jane, at Mama Peter's house so that he could verify for himself that, first of all, Mama Peter really existed with little Peter and the rest of the family. Right, so that he could see for himself that Mama Peter really was in a dire situation, right? And that even if he could help just a little bit, right? Whether through mentorship, you know, maybe $100, throw it into the pot, you know, give Lady Jane some moral support, make sure the job was done correctly, because as if Lady Jane knows anything about installing floors. You know what I'm saying? He's a man, right? You know, maybe he knew people that were good workers that could come in with a better deal with the materials and the equipment, you know, and right? That's why I invited him in. And then from there, if it worked out good between Lady Jane and him, then the three of us would be batting in that court playing hardball, right? Okay, now don't forget, at this point, I don't know about my African friends next. I know they're Africans, but from what part of Africa they come from, I don't have a clue. Okay, I just know they're noisy. Okay, right? You know what I'm saying? So you know, it's not like I'm plotting and scheming to try and get close to freaking Ugandans here from Kampala. It's not like that. No, it's the fact that I founded a nonprofit, and I was working on the premise of the nonprofit, not dropping the ball 25 freaking years later in a stupid, rotten country called Canada with a bunch of immigrants moving in that are far beyond freaking being racist and who want me gone out of my own country. Okay, that's basically where I'm at right now, in my own country. As I'm looking on YouTube at videos, seeing the same freaking thing happening to black people in a community that got completely bulldozed down. Don't talk to me about, oh, you wouldn't know what that means. You wouldn't know what that feels like. You don't know what that looks like. Yes, I do. All I have to do is go out my freaking door. House after house after house after house is being torn down with people being flushed out into the streets. So why wouldn't I care? I would. So yeah, I did the outreach, but I asked him to contact Lady Jane. I asked her to contact him. She said that he blocked her. And then she said she figured he would have done that anyway because basically Ugandans that do this kind of stuff are just running game. They're not that serious. So she's not surprised that he didn't want to help. He was hoping, this is what she said, through her Gmail, right? He was probably hoping that I would give him money to go do whatever he wanted to do versus asking him to go see for himself the need, and then, yeah, put a call out with your subscribers, and if you could scoop up on an extra $100 to finish the fucking job and make sure it was done correctly, well, more power to you, right? And then, like I said, there would be 3 of us fighting in that court, okay, instead of me. It's sitting up in Canada. Yeah, okay, right? So, needless to say, he fell off to the wayside with that, right? Because, you know, he apparently, quote-unquote, blocked her. All right, so then, and then, what do you call it? I'm looking for another video here. Because I did another video on him. Follow-up video, not impressed, Lady Jane. Village life. The one with that white Muslim with the messed up face, where Joel with Harriet walked by that little boy, right? Maybe I didn't post it in here. I don't know. I don't see it. Oh, it would be mine. Oh, what are we looking at? Maybe it's this video. What are we looking at? Like, seriously, what the hell were we looking at? Because I've never gone back, people, and put that face under exposure because it creeps me out. Honestly, it creeps me out. Right? And so easy, yeah. So easy for a child to be kidnapped. Now, maybe this is why Joel Obertan is subscribed to my channel after all this time. Because this 2 months ago, okay? Why would he all of a sudden, out of the blue, in the middle of the night, subscribe to my channel? Unless there's something he's interested in. Okay? See? There's his name. I did it. There's his name. Is God knocking on Joel Obertan's door? Right? So I did more than one video follow-up. I just never took that creepy face and took it under exposure because I'm afraid of what I'm going to find. Because I've already found enough in terms of that Muslim, so-called Muslim, under that red, whatever those things are called that they wear, with white skin. That I showed in black and white. There's no denying that. It was not no black person underneath there, and it was not no brown person. That was white. That was a white person. With an ugly looking fucking face, distorted eyes, purposely going out of their way to approach Joel and Harriet, and walked on by that little teeny weeny baby boy who reminded me of little Peter on the street. No parents around. And of course, Joel and Harriet walked on by. But, you know, I mean, like, I don't know the politics out in Africa. In other words, maybe if they would have stopped and said, oh my God, why are you out on the streets? Come here and pick up the child. Maybe some raging lunatic person could have came screaming with a machete out of the fucking corners of somewhere saying, why are you touching my child? Why are you touching my child? And it would have been a huge fight. So maybe that's why they walked on by. Right? Maybe that's why they ignored that little child. Maybe they were so consumed with whatever. Maybe Joel was so consumed with whatever that person with that red cloak on, right, was saying that, you know, maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't know what would provoke people to walk by a little child, a little toddler sitting on the street in the middle of this, like, sidewalk with no parent with them. Because it wouldn't happen in Canada. So just because it doesn't happen in Canada doesn't mean that it's maybe not normal where Joel is. Now, I'm making excuses for him. Because ultimately, it's his God knocking on his door. Right? Not my God, okay? Because if it would have been for me, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have gone down to a fucking fist fight when the parents showed up. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you leaving your child down here in the middle of a sidewalk with all these people walking back and forth? Like, that is just so wrong. This is just a teeny weeny baby. But maybe it would have resulted in a great big hollering match and a big fist fight. And maybe Joel just didn't want to take it there with Harriet. You know what I'm saying? Maybe people are just completely desensitized to it and used to it and don't question it and just accept it for what it is, and so be it. But you see, that's where they have to get in touch with themselves, right? It fight for the most vulnerable, fight for the weakest, fight for the meekest, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're going to put yourself up on YouTube acting like that's what you do. You just, right? So I already called him on it. So he and there's his name. So maybe he's seen this video. And if he didn't see this video, well, he's subscribed to my channel now, and he's watching this video now, so he's going to go into this playlist and he's going to watch it. Right? And he's going to do one of two things. He's either going to get pissed off, moody, right? Plot and scheme how to, who knows, or he's going to take it for what it is and get stronger with it. Knowledge is power, right? You know what I'm saying? Step up his game. You know what I'm saying? Because he's up a lot against, like if he's a true fucking community activist, see there, I swear a lot, right? If he's a true community activist, you know, and he sees his people being taken advantage of, he sees his people being harvested, he sees his people freaking disappearing, he sees his people losing their housing, he sees the children with cerebral palsy and other disabilities falling through the cracks because there's nobody there to help the parents, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay? And anything I got to say is just going to make him stronger. Sure, he might get a little mad, but that's fine. Get a little mad and then take that anger and turn it into strength so that you can do a better job at being you, what you do in your community. Because ultimately, you know, we're kind of facing the same stupid shit. Only you're in Africa and I'm in Canada. Okay, so we'll just let it roll. I mean, he may unsubscribe me and it won't be an issue. Right? I'm thinking, well, you subscribe to me, I should subscribe to you. I was subscribed to him at one point, but then I unsubscribed him. Because Lady Jane made me think that he didn't care. And that's why he didn't contact her. So I let it slide after I seen this. Because I came to judgment quickly on my own. How dare you walk by that little boy and not rescue him? And then I left it with God and I cut him loose. And now freaking Joel is knocking on my YouTube door. And I'm like, this morning, well, you can subscribe back. Let him know that you're aware of it. No, I don't want to subscribe right now. It's too early in the morning. But maybe I'll do a video on it. Because now that he's subscribed, he'll watch the video. And I'll put his freaking name into the title so that he knows I'm talking about him. Right? And I'll tell you why in a minute. Alright, so God's been knocking on his door. Right? Now, Joel's knocking on my door. Right? I'm sure he's watched these videos, and if he hasn't, he needs to. Because they're important. Because whatever is going on in that country is insidious. It is dangerous for the children. And he knows it. Because children are kidnapped and they disappear. For various reasons. Child sacrifice is one of them. Not to mention pedophilia. Right? And just with that ghoul in that red cloak approaching Joel from up behind at that precise moment with that child sitting on the ground unattended by an adult. And then making light of the situation by carrying on a conversation to get Joel laughing as they walked, all of them, by that child. Tells you how dangerous it really is for the children of Africa. And in this case, it would be Uganda. Okay? And of course, it's just for some children. Right? It's not for the Muslims over there that came from over there that moved in and are building. Not for those ones over there that are building and so on, but just for maybe the Ugandan children that are being kicked out of their houses. You know what I'm saying? For the children that are being forced to live in squalor. I don't know what the percentage is. It's almost, I think, 30%. Don't quote me on that. Where 30%, oh, we'll just put it a little lower than that. But honestly, I think we're looking at 30%. Almost 30% of the children of Uganda have lack of no water and very little food. What does that tell you, people? They don't even have clean drinking water. Never mind adequate food. Now that's some hardball shit. Who cares about those kids? Who do you think cares about those kids when there's so many of them? So easy for a child to be kidnapped. So I specifically talk about it. And if you notice, my numbers are low. Because it's too serious. That's YouTube shadow banning. Because it's too serious of a subject. Because I've caught YouTube in the act of how they... children. In an insidious kind of way. Through their satanic subliminal messaging. And that's what disturbed me about that ghoul with that red cloak on that clearly had white skin. To which I'm thinking was a man. Under that Soji movement. Okay? I don't think it was a woman. I don't. And if it was an ugly woman, even though its face was covered up. Okay? You could see it in the eyes. Which makes it even more dangerous for the children. And then, what are we looking at? This is where I'm probably talking about that ghoul. I'm not making apologies, people, because I tell it like I see it. Okay? Running rodeos, end of life. I don't know what I was talking about there. And then Lady Jane came in with her little follow-ups. And then we know how it ended. She gave the money to, I guess, I don't know. She gave off, I sent $550 for that floor, people. And the floor never got done. We never got to see the carpet. Well, actually, she told us she bought carpet. But why she would buy carpet and not get the floor done first, I don't know. But we never got to see it. And we never got to see the lanterns because I asked her to get her solar-powered lanterns as well. She came in with sand. Lady Jane came in with sand. And then she said she was going to do a follow-up video with carpets and the solar powered lamp. But she never did. She never did. Because she's too busy swinging around that fucking pole. Being slutty. With her words. Basically. To attract men. And a subscriber with, making money through subscribers. Giving men the old okie dokie. I'm wondering if Joel has subscribed up to that. And taking Lady Jane Moto's advice. Right? As if. Well, little Peter fell through the cracks. Just like Amari. Little Peter fell through the cracks. Just like Amari, people, is falling through the cracks. So even when you care, they still fall through the cracks. The children. Right? So, okay, so that is my history with Joel Obertan. Right? Okay, Joel, I know you're watching. And you know what? That's not a bad thing because, honestly, and it's funny that you should be joining my channel now because in the last couple of days, sir, despite my troubles here up in Canada, British Columbia, Canada, at that, my woes, I had to make a choice. I had to, what do you call it? I had to spend $70 on my credit card, okay? Yeah, it didn't come out of my pocket. It came out of my credit card. For a hanging rack for clothing or fabric. One or the other. Because we know that I'm being slowly but surely forced out of my country. So, it's either gather up my shit and throw it out on the road so everybody can pillage it and say la vie. Or I could gather up my shit, drop it off at a fucking thrift store, and then people can pillage it there and pay just a pittance for it while I sit here with nothing. Because that's basically what my landlady wants me to do, because then it becomes easier to kick my ass out into the streets. Because even if I left with nothing, I still couldn't afford to live anywhere. Okay? With dignity, that is. With decency or dignity. Okay. So in the meantime, because I did 12 years in this yard, being a slave to that chain around my neck, that metal collar with that chain link chain around my neck, I tend to have a lot of fabric because I never got to sew. Because that's what I used to do, right? I'm used to make costumes for strippers, and plus I have my own clothes that I've had since I'm 62. Some of these things I've had since, I'm in my 20s. I'm just saying. And this is where I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, you may know one of my neighbors. I'm thinking you might know one of my neighbors. Yeah, because I've already gone over there 2 times, got drunker than a skunk, and I don't go back because I don't drink. And plus, I'm always busy. If you ask them, they'll tell you, oh, she always says she's busy. And that's true. All you have to do is watch my videos. Come back, have a drink. No, I'm busy. I told you, I'm working. I'm always working. I don't got no time. And the 2 times I did go over there and had two drinks, I got drunker than a skunk because I don't drink. So I can't afford to get drunk, so I just don't go. But, they kind of on my mind because when I did go, I talked about the foundation. I talked about doing a park event with them, with the foundation, maybe this year coming up in New Westminster. I talked about doing a little fashion show, in their little environment that they got going with their gatherings. And, I talked about, when I'm going to put my shit up online or whatever. They, once I get everything all nicely organized, the women can come over. They can go through the clothing rack. This is why I had to buy the clothing rack. I have to wash and hang up and make sure it's all nice. And then when I'm ready, they'll come and look for vintage clothing, right, to liquidate my belongings in my own country so I can end up in a freaking shack and pay $3,000 a month for it, assuming that I can even afford that, which we know I couldn't, right? And I'm not talking an old bungalow. I'm talking about a fucking shack. Okay? I have no future, Joel, in this country. Absolutely none. And for all those Africans that go next door and do whatever they do, I'm sure not maybe all of them are feeling like that, but I'm sure many of them are feeling like that, saying holy crumb. Because I've talked to a few of them over there, and the cost of living is off the roof. The government keeps bringing in all these freaking immigrants with badass attitudes that want to take over the fucking planet, right? There's only certain kind of people that are targeted for body parts here in British Columbia, Canada. White people, black people, and native Aboriginal people. Everybody else gets a free ride. They're the ones that are buying the organs, while we are the organs on demand. So I'm sure some of those Africans next door can relate to that shit, right? Not to mention how they're struggling for affordable housing. Can't afford to buy food that much anymore. And when you do, it's called tiny town. Everything's in small little portions now, and it tastes like crap. I'm just saying, these are our struggles, right? So, there is a fella there that is supposed to maybe help me when it comes time to start putting my stuff online. But of course, I haven't been going next door because I'm always busy. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm organized, and that's why I bought this rack, I swear, not even 2 days ago. And as I'm buying, I'm thinking, no, Judy, because I didn't want to rack up any more on my credit card, but I had to, because I need to liquidate my house because of the pressures that my landlady is putting on me. Right, through her negligence of not fixing things, and just with the fact that I myself even want to move, but even if I do move, there's nothing affordable, and chances of me being able to take everything that I have, not that I need it anymore. A blind woman doesn't need a whole bunch of clothes, Joel. So I don't mind letting go of the clothes. It's just they got, they got to find proper homes. The fella who wants to help me maybe do that, she's trying to get rid of her clothes. No, I'm not trying to get rid of them. I want to find homes for them. There's a difference, right? Because I value things, you know what I'm saying? Especially these beautiful costumes that I made back in the day when I was, working with the girls and stuff. So anyway, I spent $580, $70, or whatever it was on my credit card. I bought a beautiful rack, a clothes hanging rack, with a shelf that can go up on top. Don't know where I'm going to put it yet. Kicking myself in the ass. But I'm saying, no, you need it because you need a starting point. You need the starting point to be able to get into your closets. I got tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of fabric that I never got to use and sew because my landlady had me out in the yard for 12 years like a slave, a field slave. Until this day, she still holds the freaking yard against me as if it's my responsibility, where not once was it ever my responsibility. And now that I'm blind and she has no use for me and I don't pay their market value on the rent through their corruption, well, we know what's happening because I talk about it. So maybe that's why Joel signed up to my channel, because he sees some of the same kind of tactics, antics, bullshit going on in his own community's country with his own people falling through the cracks because of who's moving in and what they're doing. And it just so happens, maybe he knows one or two of my neighbors personally, whether he knows them personally because, like I said, some of them come from Kampala, right? For all I know, they could be brothers or cousins. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. Or just knows them. And maybe they vouched for me. Yeah. She's a little offish. She, whatever. But she's real. She, she seems sincere. She's got a big workload. We know she's got her grandkids, right? I mean, clearly you can see that with my videos. Yeah, we said we'd do something a little here and do something a little there once she gets her shit together. Right? In terms of, I said if I do a park event, I want you guys to come. Right? I don't know how you're going to work it out with Riley, with 2 DJs, sharing the equipment, but whatever, it doesn't matter. The more the merrier. Right? Hell, if we have to, we'll book 2 days. One for the Jamaicans and one for the Africans. It doesn't have to be all done in one day, because once DJs get to the DJ equipment, they just kind of want to keep it, right? They don't like to share. So, might have to do that. Maybe we'll do that. The point is we're coming together, and we're coming together not just for blacks, Africans, or Jamaicans. We're coming together for the community. We're the leaders. We have to be the leaders. We can't wait for the Punjabis to be the leaders. They left us in the dust a long fucking time ago. You can't wait for whatever is going on in his freaking country, right? With the Muslims moving in, taking over the community, building their gated freaking fences to keep the Africans out. Like, come on. Like the Punjabis are keeping us out here, right? Or whatever, the Chinese, doesn't matter. China is taking over Africa. Some areas more than others. Right? You know what I'm saying? So, maybe that's why he signed up, because he's got a friend next door. And that friend actually vouched for me and said, yeah, we need to just kind of see how it goes, and maybe we could do something. Because it's going to take me a while. It's going to take me a while to get this fabric and whatever I'm trying to do with this new rack that I bought. I'm going to leave it on this note, okay? I had to. I didn't want to. And I'm like, Judy, you got to have a starting point. Because if you don't have a starting point, you'll never get into your closets. You'll never do anything. Right? You need something to hang it. Because I'm a little OCD. I like to be organized, and I like things nice and neat, and see how it goes, right? I like that, right? If you notice, I cover it to keep the dust out and the grit and whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? So some of this stuff needs to be washed, but once it's all done, then yeah, I'll be like going next door and I'll be like, okay, DJ James, You know, I'm ready now. I'm ready to have that fashion show. How are we going to do it? I don't know. But we'll figure it out. And if we do a fashion show, right, for whatever reason, where he does his shit, right, whether I bring my cordless mic, whether I bring my DJ, I got DJ equipment I could set up on the other side of the room, spin my fucking records while he's spinning whatever he's spinning with the girls doing the fashion show in the middle. Make it a fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Just for the fun of it, first of all. And then, you know, send the collection plate around to the people that are sitting there watching this shit. Whether they buy or not, doesn't matter to me, Joel. The point is, we might be able to scoop up a few $100s. Or maybe even a few $1,000s, you don't know who's going to drop some coin. And they will send it to you, providing that you're an honorable man. And you actually care about your country. And you care about the little Peters that are falling through the fucking cracks. And the next time you come across a child sitting on a ground with no parents to be found, nobody, you stop and you pick up that child and you stand your ground. And you fight for that child. Because otherwise, if you don't, whatever's knocking on your door right now might haunt you next time. And that's my message to you. Because I'm still playing hardball. The only thing is, I'm playing by myself. Because I live in a stupid, rotten country called Canada with a whole bunch of apathetic people that don't give a shit about anything except themselves. Bottom line. Yeah. So I'm already defeated before I even get out the freaking door. However, if I can get my act together with my new clothing rack, I might be able to convince my neighbors to help me, I don't know, try something new just for the sake of it. Because if you don't try, then for sure you ain't going to get nowhere with anything, right? You know what I mean? Right? And if something does happen, because it doesn't matter if the money goes to you, Joel, because you know, if I do a fashion show, I'll be like, okay, we need to do a little fundraiser for somebody. In the past, it would have been for Lady Jane, but it ain't happening because I don't like her. I don't like what she's doing. Okay, I don't agree with it. I think it's very misleading. I think she's taking advantage of quote unquote men because she's targeting them with advice where some of this advice is just straight up freaking stupid, right? I feel like she's the receptionist to a fucking brothel these days, literally. Okay, just for attention, so that she can make money off of YouTube clicks and advertisement and through her joining the groups, and you know that is no reflection on you, unless of course you're part of her crew and you're working together. But I don't think you are. I don't. I'm treating you as an individual, right? Trying not to cast judgment on you. I'm curious to know why you're interested in my page outside of you know something that you're not telling me, or anybody else for that matter at this point. In other words, you probably do know somebody next door. Okay, so let's end it on this. We'll end it on your flag, okay? Because you know me, doesn't this girl just keep talking around in circles? You know, I'm a man, I don't like to listen to all this bullshit talk, chatter. So we're gonna end it on we're just gonna end it on this note, and we're just gonna float with it, okay? After the fact, I went next door 2 times to get. Well, no, they're partying, right? So, you know, I'm like old now, 62, right? And I never get out. I don't get to go to the grocery store. You know, I don't do nothing. The only thing I ever do when I do go out is taking Amari to these appointments where I feel like I'm under attack with the witches from the feeding team, or under scrutiny with, you know, because of the cerebral palsy. You know, this is why it's important that I write this book, okay? Maybe that's what Joel's interested in. Maybe he wants that book to be written so that he can give it to that lady who has a child with cerebral palsy. Who knows? All right. And I listen to them, you know, every week. Noisy. You know, people go out and go, you know, and the music's playing, and I'm like, I don't want to say I'm jealous, but, you know, I'm like, I know I can go over and say, hey, you know, I'm your neighbor, and, you know, they see me, I see them, and, you know, so finally, you know, my son was doing what my son was doing, right? You know, he was trashing my shit, right? And it was stressing me out, and I was talk about working like a dog, and anyway, Tisha bought me birthday beer that I've had for like 4 years. birthday beer sitting, like, you know, beers a can. Like, I had 4 cans of beer or something like that. You know how you buy beer, 6 cans to a case or something? I think back 4 years ago, I maybe drank 2 of them. And then 4 cans or whatever, or how many cans in the case were still in the case 4 years later. And I'm like, they were sitting on my doorstep because I didn't want them because, you know, I don't drink, right? I can't afford to drink. It wears me out. And I didn't want to put them out on the road because I didn't want the kids to get them. But I didn't want to throw them out either. As someone in the past told me that old beer goes bad, and I'm like, I don't know about that, you know, I'm a fruit pepper, you know, depending on how you store it, chances are that beer is still good. So, you know, eventually, you know, after my son did what he did, and I'm working, and they were out there doing whatever they were doing across the street, I said, Andre, I think Anna's going to take her old birthday beer next door, and I'm going to trade it for a new beer, and I'm going to, you know, I'll drink one old beer, see what it tastes like, see if it's gone bad. And then ask them what they think about it, right? To dispel the myth that if beer is 4 years old in a can, no, it wasn't bad. It was still good. So all it took, though, was for me to drink 2 beer to get completely drunk. So I wobbled my way back home and passed out. I wobbled my way back home, ate a bit of food, then passed out. Then got up and did what I needed to do. And of course, while I was there, I brought up the subject of the nonprofit. And while I was there, because I had that Uganda flag that I bought because of Lady Jane, you know, saying, okay, when I do the park event, I'm bringing it with me. I was going to hang it up here in my little sitting space, but I haven't done that yet. Anyway, you know, by beer number 2, I come back home, I grab the flag, I take it over, and that's when I find out that 3/4 of the people there are from Uganda, Kampala, to be exact. And I'm like, oh, holy crap, like, this is crazy because, you know, I'm dealing with Lady Jane sitting up not far from Kampala trying to help little Peter. So, of course, I started talking about little Peter. I started talking about the foundation. I told them what I wanted and blah, 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 blah. Asked them if they could help, blah, 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 blah. In the meantime, this Uganda flag is floating around between everybody. They're all touching it, and they're all happy, and cracking jokes, and laughing, and I'm like, oh, well, this is nice, right? Long story short, someone stole it. At first, Charles, the tall Charles, tried to give it back to me, and told me to put it away, because he was afraid it was going to get stolen. And I said, no, just leave it, let them touch it, let them have it, hold it for a while. It brings them back to home, like, it's important, right? It's okay, we'll just deal with it, right? But sure enough, Charles was right. Somebody stole the flag and it disappeared. Okay, so now, over the next couple of weeks, where's the flag? I'm asking James, I'm finding out, like, who's running the show around here? Like, you need to find this flag. And when you find it, take it and hang it up so people can see it, right? Don't worry about it. Just, you can keep it for a while. I'm just lending it to you, right? It only cost like $16 off of Amazon. It wasn't like it was some serious situation. But, of course, nobody admitted to the flag of taking it. It completely disappeared. And then time went by, and then somebody started accusing me of stealing my own flag. And when I got wind of that, I went, oh, to hell with that shit. That's bullshit. Right? So I went off and I bought 2 more flags from Amazon. And when they came, the fella that's supposed to help me maybe with my outfits, regardless of what they are, after they're all nice hanging up on this beautiful hanging rack that I just purchased to help me get motivated for that purpose, I gave it to him to give to James to hang up and specifically express the fact that I would never steal my own fucking flag, as if. Right? And I've just been busy. And I've been leaving them alone. And I had to buy a freaking hanging rack at almost $600. It'd have to be heavy duty, right? Shit gets heavy, you know. I have a lot of fabric in this house, Joel. A lot. And a lot of jars. And I choose food over clothes. So I have to liquidate my bedroom of clothes. I can't even wear them anymore because I'm going blind. What do I care? I don't. But I'll be damned if my landlady can think that she can come in here and just start throwing out fucking bins into the garbage like my clothes into bins, into the garbage bin, right? Her big ass fucking garbage containers, those big dump truck container bins, that kind of thing, just to get rid of me, so that she can go around bragging out about how the property developers improving the fucking neighborhood around here. Yeah, as many of your African friends are probably sitting there next door wondering what's going to happen to them when they get evicted from their apartments, because the city's coming in to tear down the apartment buildings to build in condos that none of them can afford, because not everybody sitting next door is a rich bitch. You know what I'm saying? They're just average day people getting caught up in the same kind of riffraff. The only problem is they're black, which means that there's a target on their back, because they're the ones that are the commodity on demand. Is that why you joined my channel? Because I talk about that shit? As YouTube freaking shadow bans the truth? Because that is the truth. So, I think what I'm saying is we've got multiple issues here. We've got the issues going on in your country, and we've got the issues going on in my country. And for whatever strange reason, you are interested in something that I have to give. And I don't think it's quote unquote money. Although it would be nice if we could get money. Right? Being that we're on that topic for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So I guess in that situation, you're kind of inspiring me. And it just so happens you came in at a time when I needed that inspiration, because I'm, like I said, I'm going more into debt, as my landlady is threatening to kick me out because I won't fork out more money for her, right? As she expects me to get rid of my shit, just throw it out. She doesn't want me to sell it. She doesn't want me to get anything for it. She doesn't want me to mourn the loss of it. She just wants me to get rid of it, so it's easier for her to get rid of me. Right? Where I'm thinking, no, just spend the money. It's an investment. You're starting a little, it would be like in a business. It's your first business investment. You need it, and it will get you that, it will give you the start that you need, so that eventually, it might take me 6 months, it might take me a year. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I just know it's going to take me a while, because I'm busy with many other things, where I can go next door and say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to do the fashion show. I got it all together. I found, whatever. Everything's done. And if anyone wants to come and see what's there after the fact or even before the fact, doesn't matter to me. It's all nicely hung up, washed, ready to go. If they want to buy, so be it. And if that man that offered to help me at one point to maybe put things online if I can't do it for myself is still available, I told him I would do that under commission if he sold it through however he does it. But we're not there yet. So, I don't know. Here. The best I can do for you right now, I suppose, is subscribe to your channel. Where is it? I can't even see it. There it is. Right? It is what it is. African boy. You're not a boy. You're a man. You might want to change that. You might want to put African man. Give credit where credit is due. What do you think? I think so. Don't play into that old okie dokie. Yeah. My advice, not that it's my place to give you advice, I would put man. You are facing enough hurdles as it is.